Thank you, Nico, first of all, for joining again for the session. Very much appreciated, of course, as always. Again, this is a weekly session that we do as a recap of what has been happening on a weekly basis in Italy for in the general Italian startup ecosystem. We're gonna run through the big news in tech, following, of course, Nicolo newsletter. So we're gonna go point by point, and then essentially move from there. Okay, Nico, I think if you want to get started, happy to start.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jack, for hosting this conversation as usual. He's doing all the heavy lifting, so let's make it clear. So
we're both everybody's doing its job. It's good. It's good. Cooperation.
Exactly. So we had an interesting week actually. Quite a few deals announced. Quite a few sizable ones as well. Should we start from the beginning?
Nope.
If our technology.
Our technology is faulty today. Okay.
Anyhow.
Okay. We're good. I think we're good.
Okay. So let's start from the beginning. So
yes.
Walliance, real estate crowd investing portal, announced 4 million raise last week.
Yep.
And this is probably one of the leading real estate platforms in Italy. I was reading the news. They somehow managed to have more than 40 million euros of deals completed on the platform. So not too shabby. In this case, the investors are two regional agencies from the Trentino region. So the regional financial arm and another local investment arm of the region.
Yeah, I think what it was very curious is always to see Italian regions, especially certain specific region Trentino, some northern region, that really play a very much of a key role in supporting Italian startups in different ways, being it an accelerator, an incubator, a partnership with a local bank, and so on and so forth. So it's a very good sign actually, and I feel it's kind of unique of Italy in a way.
Well, I don't know about the rest of the world. For sure, there are a few regions that are implementing investment programs that are, quite effective. At least they're able to deploy a lot of capital on the field. We'll see the results, but it's good that they have, let's say, the ability to move independently of central government, and they have the capital and the possibility to invest in startups locally. So it's good. I agree with you. Not all regions are equal in this sense, but some are acting quite well, I would say.
Fantastic. Yeah, I've seen also, as I was saying, local regional banks supporting with open innovation programs. Also in the Trentino region, Trentino is really kicking asses in this respect. They're really advanced. There is a big ecosystem working for innovation. So that's definitely good news. All right, awesome. So let's talk about the celeb deal, celebrities investing in AI. That's once in a while you have these kind of deals where you have famous people that are part of an innovation project. So this is the case of Vedrai. If you want to maybe say something more about the business model of Vedrai, just to have an idea.
Well, the company is developing AI-based solutions for small to medium enterprises, in particular to analyze the impact of business decisions on the top and bottom line of the business. So basically, answering questions such as, if I sell this widget for a 10% discount, what's going to happen to my bottom line in 6 months?
I see.
This is the starting point. So quite straightforward, but if you think that small to medium enterprises, they might not have access to even simple forecasting tools such as this one, so it might make sense. But there are two interesting points to this startup. The first one you mentioned, they raised 5 million euros from a pool of celebrities, from entrepreneurs to soccer players, to football players such as Chiellini from Juventus, to famous TV anchormen. Piero Angeli is probably one of the most famous TV anchormen in Italy for scientific communication.
Yeah.
And this is the first part of the news. The other part is that the founder and CEO is a very young kid.
Yeah.
He's probably 26, I believe.
I think so. Yeah.
And this is kind of his third entrepreneurial endeavor.
Wow.
He sold one and then he started another one and then finally he launched this one. So he's been featured in quite a few articles and well, let's see how it goes, but it seems that the company is moving very fast.
Yes, not totally.
And finally, the article mentions that the post-money valuation of the company was 15 million euros.
So my feel is that it's a little bit on the overvaluated side, but yeah, definitely valuable. Definitely, it's a play where small and medium enterprise and a service for those kind of companies, definitely something extremely valuable. So that's definitely something awesome. All right. Exactly. So let's talk about EdTech a little bit. So this new raise of 2 million led by CDP Venture Capital for Develhope, essentially a platform that requalifies people, teaching them digital skills such as digital marketing, analytics, etc. So I thought that was particularly interesting. Also, in Italy, there's been like a lot of movements into the requalification space, being it helping and supporting people to learn more about the digital space and quickly actually like find a job and then pay back this kind of requalification service only if you find a job. So I think it's always like a very, very interesting angle. It's basically the opposite of schooling.
Yeah, exactly. But this model was pioneered by Lambda School.
Yeah.
And it found quite a few copycats in Europe, and in Italy in particular, as you said. The particular positioning of Develhope is about concentrating on the periphery. So they're concentrating on southern Italy, for example, to find and to onboard students for their development programs. So the idea is to make sure that even at the periphery, people can get the right skills to get to, let's say, modern jobs, in particular in computer programming and software development.
Fantastic.
So it is an interesting thing.
Yeah. Very specific, very local, very regional in a way, because I'm sure there is a lot of difficulty in access for quality education, especially in the southern region. Sometimes you don't have as much opportunities probably than you have maybe in the northern region. So that's definitely something that can bridge the gap. So that's definitely something valuable. Awesome.
Yeah. And on the other side, there's always a shortage of developers nowadays. So very welcome opportunity.
Fantastic. Right. Outdoor experience startups. There's been a big proliferation of the post-COVID of many platforms trying to bring people outdoor, bringing people like together in a way or another by sharing like certain activities, by sharing sports, trekking, etc. Freedome is another very good example, I feel, of what has been like moving also in Italy. So there is this new trend of getting around, but with really curated and customized experiences.
Yeah, the play is, we've seen it before, basically. So there is a lot of local supply of activities. The problem is to be informed about the offering in any specific area of location. So the founders of Freedome appear to manage to set up a good aggregation engine and an interesting portal in order to have a good coverage of the Italian offering, let's say so. And so they just raised 600,000 euros in the seed round, and I think they just finished an acceleration program. So they probably got a good timing with respect to the current situation with COVID, lockdown implications.
Fantastic. All right. Let's talk about gaming now. So again, Gamindo, that's a very, very interesting ideas. I've seen it like before, where essentially it's a company that allows you to play video games at the same time gain credits that you can spend with the charity of your choice. So that's a way to sort of gamify and gamify like some sort of platform. Well, actually gamifying the impact sort of expenditure, if you will. So it's an interesting take on gaming in general.
Yes, I agree with you. The founder is very very good, very aggressive, very fast. So I think that do great things, and the take is interesting. Developing games for brands so that brands can somehow have an additional channel of customer involvement or whatever.
Yeah.
And as you said, the user, the player, can decide to which charity donate the final score that the brand sets as a prize. So it's interesting. Very interesting take.
All right. We also saw this week, last week, a few operations in a more like later stage sort of company like Webidoo. That was interesting to me, first of all, because it was led by 8A Plus, which is a venture. Well, it's a multiplicity of funds that invest in many different areas, and I think it's worth checking out actually their portfolio. They really they go from like public equity to long and short strategies to innovation plays and so on and so forth. So among the different investments, this is basically what they did. So they invested in this company, which is essentially it's Webidoo, and it's a digital transformation company. So essentially, it's the evolution of what at the beginning was where developer companies that were helping regular business play into the digital space. So not necessarily like a startup per se, if you will. It's more of an agency, if I'm not mistaken. But it's interesting to see how agencies can become really big and really attract the attention of private capital. That's what I felt it was particularly interesting of this news.
Yep, I agree, and consider that 8A Plus Investments is basically the corporate venture arm of Generali Group.
Okay.
So they started recently investing in startups as well. So they announced quite a few operations recently. But as you said, they are diversifying a lot, and this is another classic example. So the deal is similar to venture capital deal, but as you said, Webidoo is not exactly your traditional product startup. Yeah. It is my understanding that they have some internal product that they are leveraging on the market, but it is basically a digital consulting, a digital transformation firm. I was reading they have more than 250 people, employees.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So and it was founded in 2017. So as you said, fast growth, but a service company, but still with very fast growth.
Absolutely. All right. Next coming up is actually a reverse operation that where actually Italian funds are investing, actually Italian companies are investing abroad. So that's the case of WorkFarm. Essentially, this is an employee engagement solution. So it's a platform for enterprises that supports the relationship and the well-being, so to speak, of employees by connecting them, organizing events, putting them in contact depending on their hobbies and interests. And they received a good investment from Azimut and from Gellify. I thought that was particularly interesting also as the other way, sort of Italy going out and see what's happening.
Yeah, just to add on this, Gellify actually set up not an headquarter, but
like a branch
in the Middle East. And actually, I know the partner who's leading that branch from when I was a consultant many years ago.
Nice.
So it's very good. And this, I believe, it is the first investment that comes out from that branch. But they have stable operations in the Middle East region.
Okay.
So they're expanding there. Yes. This is not a one of a kind. So we'll probably see more coming out from the Middle East.
So it's a strategy. It's a full-blown strategy where they have the headquarters in Italy, but they really have a firm foot into the Middle East because of the amount of capital that is pouring over there, I think. So that's a very smart move for sure.
Yeah, and again, remember that Gellify is a hybrid company. They invest, they manage capital because they are the managers of the Azimut Digitech fund.
Yeah.
But they're also a strategic consulting firm. So they have this dual role.
Dual
and
approach.
As you can imagine, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, etc. There are many interesting customers for their services. And there's capital.
Interesting. All right. Now let's go back to Turin, where a startup incubated by I3P from the Politecnico of Turin announced a 2 million seed round. Now this company is US based. It's called Yobs, and essentially they're working in the coaching space, the employee coaching space, where essentially you can gather data through AI as people go to conference call and then have their interaction between each other. So that's a very interesting angle. It's a cool concept because it's definitely helping on an HR perspective, and I can see how they closed. I can see a big customer like Nissan. So that's definitely something valuable for sure.
Yeah, I find their technology fascinating. So basically, they are able to semi-automatically get, I think, more than 100 or almost 100 of data points from the way a person interacts in video.
Wow.
So there's a machine learning platform which augments the capabilities of psychologists. So they are able to create a complete trait of a person during a video interview, for example. So it is an accelerator for hiring in particular, but I can imagine that they have very different applications for this technology.
Oh, for sure. Some of them were actually building teams. So whenever you need to build a specific task force for a project and you start interviewing people within the company, that's definitely some extra data points that can support this kind of decision making. So that's definitely something extremely valuable.
Yeah, and if I can add, this is another example of a very young founders.
Okay.
One of them is Italian, who was studying in the US, so he was at university there, and they're very good, very smart. So being so young, I'm really looking forward to see what's next for them.
Awesome, fantastic. All right, let's talk about liquidity events. The big one that we can identify, last week, was one probably that happened in some of the biggest market playground for car industry. So car subscription has been blowing up since I would say 2016. They were the first experiment. I remember in the US when Fair got launched, It was one of the first sort of subscription based. They had like a very simple, basic white cars, and you could go on, and it was extremely simple. Actually, everything was done through an app. They didn't even have a landing page, so that was extremely powerful. And right now, all the big automotive firms are playing in that space, trying to see how exactly to cater millennial consumer, that we don't want to buy anything. We just want to subscribe to everything and then, do something else when we're bored. And BP, this Madrid-based user car subscription service is basically that. So essentially, it's a simplified way to lease a car month by month. And essentially, the bank that supports Renault in this kind of operation is the one that acquired it. So it's RCI Bank, if I'm not mistaken. So very interesting play. I mean, huge player, very well organized, clearly. Gathering new intelligence and new business through M&A. That's a very good example.
Yeah, this is news for us because an Italian venture capital fund, P101, invested in BP not so long ago. It was back in March.
Okay.
It invested 6 million euros in a broader round. So this is quite a quick turnaround for that investment.
Any insight? Did it work out despite the small amount of time frame?
Well, I don't know yet. I'm going to find out, so I'll let you know.
Awesome. All right. So let me jump to the bottom, actually. The latest fund that has been raised. Actually, I think it's the first fund that they raised, Pantheon Ventures. Is the first full-fledged fund, 50 million for seed stage startups. So that's definitely something extremely interesting. And from at least two of the most known operator into the Italian VC space. So, and I know you know them very well, so I let you give us some insights.
Well, this is a very good news, a great news for Italian ecosystem, of course. Then for me, in particular, because Lisa Disseo, one of the managing partners, is a very good friend. She's been working very hard to raise this fund, and I'm very happy that they managed to get to the first closing. Now let's hope that we get to the final close. The first closing is at 34 million euros. Mm-hmm. But I bet they soon start investing. Mm-hmm. So looking forward to them. I have an additional point to add. This is not a traditional VC fund.
Okay.
Even though all of us market ourselves as an operational VC, yeah. They're a true operational VC because they have in-house some operations, for example, marketing, and they will implement side by side with the startups they invest in. So it's an Italy stake, one of the few real operational VCs in Italy.
Fantastic. All right. Unless there are other news that you want to mention, I just want to remind people that we are available on Spotify. So these sessions are recorded and they're going to be available on Spotify, and they're going to be also streamed live on YouTube. So each session, there is the possibility to participate directly on YouTube, and it's every Monday at 6:30. This is except actually the next 2 weeks because of the summer closing. So we're going to restart again essentially by the end of August. And now I would like to open for questions.